Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to continue our little adventure in Edith Finch, or what remains of Edith Finch. Our last video, so far, ain't doing well, in my opinion. So, let's get into it. So, we stopped right as we were going into the basement. You guys should go watch part 1, then come back and watch this. Something that should be me. Like and subscribe too, so this can get further.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Fair enough. The dragon's
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Whoa.
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
he died. If you haven't figured that out.
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Nope. And if you guys are wondering, in part 1 of this little tale on why it may look choppy, is we got a copyright from Halloween music, and I just, had to trim it out. So. Ooh, another pig.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years.
Where did bro go?
On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Give me a quick second. I know that. No, wrong thing. Options. God. I'll turn music down a decent bit. No. What? Oh, it looks fast. That way I can
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
No, you don't. You don't have to leave. Oh, that tiny bed. Oh, let me do. Help! Help! out on the dream. It's very interesting. That is a lot of books.
I know it's out there somewhere.
Maybe it's the monster
Whatever
that
killed
took
Barbara
Molly. Oh. Barbara.
and Molly
And Molly, that's what I'm saying.
and Calvin.
Calvin. We haven't heard much about Calvin.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me.
Huh.
Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it.
I don't think we're a big
I'm
fan.
going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
So he was killed by train.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Look at the family tree real quick. So all we need is Sam, and we complete the Finn Edie part of the family. He was 50. Can you imagine living down in the woods?
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Wait. Okay, we good. I would not go into the tunnels. Especially because it's like...
Maybe
Give me a second. Yeah, it doesn't say a date.
she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
2017.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house,
The mole man.
I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
I might be able to
I
find
don't
a
want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to
But look-
bury something that's still alive.
There was something that said, Edie, no, in Edie's room, there was something that said there was a mole man living under the house.
Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else.
Why did they keep him? Wait. Who's left? We don't know what happened to Sven, or Kay, or Sanjay. Sorry.
But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Not nice. That doesn't look right. Where do I go?
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
You probably shouldn't. This seems like the entire family is riding something before they die.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Yeah, but you're 17. So it's 26.
But I thought you should know about your family.
Okay. I think she might be pregnant. What is that?
And the history you're a part of.
Yeah, I think she might be pregnant. Cause you look like this. She looks like she's a baby girl. Where's the original house? So I'm guessing this might be the original house. That's same.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
got a family killer. Someone going through and hacking. Catch my drift. Is this the... Yes. Interesting. I love this game. Especially the fact that it's so confusing where I'm supposed to be going. I guess we probably could have taken a different way to get by that stair. Ah. The bird? No, it's these. God, no! I should be able to cover that. Sorry. Apparently speaking quiet.
And when you look at the house, it had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness. Any of it seems possible.
It's a very interesting end. Alright, looks like we don't go that way.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
That happened.
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Oh.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Derpy, Lurpy, Burpy, Chirpy, Burpy, Derpy, Derpy Jr., Lucy, Daisy, Farley, Tucker, Coco, Rose.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
That's his dad. Edie's dad.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
That's actually cool.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
There we go.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
So Sanjay did die. So did... Wait. Lewis? Milton's missing.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along.
Oh, right.
For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
That's fun. I'm guessing she is the last step.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
I knew it. Uh-oh. That's 5.5. Maybe there's a ladder? Can't see anything. There we go. Now I can turn it back down to a reasonable. Don't want to ruin the atmosphere. Just wanted to find that.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Yeah, we haven't learned about them.
They were both pretty intense.
Whoa. Ooh, okay, we're gonna save that. I want to see if I can find anything cool.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Yikes. That's, I don't know what that implies. I hope that doesn't imply what I think it does. The house is so creaky. Alright, give me a second.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
What?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? So we'll never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are. Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Whoa. More or less like bird. See? Maybe I'll have to take.
Nothing quite like being outside.
Aw.
Oop. A little more gas in the tank, I guess.
Hold still.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Good shot.
Dad, I...
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. Great shot, Don!
You're fine.
I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so-
normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about—
Dad!
And that's where Sam died.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Where's Dawn? Okay. Like a little. Looks like.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Fair point. Let's see what medals he's got. Ooh. Oh, that's right. He did run away. I remember that. They said he ran away from home at 18 to go join the military. I don't know about an old house. I don't know if you should be stepping on.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
You've lost a. Why is there baby gate? No. There's two over here. Why does it look like a military school?
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
I don't know if she should be.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
I'm guessing we're in that tower.
I can't imagine what it was like for her to lose 2 sons after she'd already lost 2 brothers.
Okay.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Who do we... Oh. Let's go with this one. Oh.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
I thought this was something completely different.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Bend over, Gregory. It's time to...
Oh,
Hold on,
no.
sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
This is interesting. You're gonna get telekinesis. Oh no.
Whatever it was he saw. It sure made him happy.
Flip it. You gotta flip it. Flip it. No, Oh, hit that.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called him, I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay.
That was beautiful.
Love, Sam.
That was horrible, but beautiful at the same time. Wow. Let's see what Gus got.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. Out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
I think I'm far
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. Thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
Oh, that's sad.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
It's foamed off, so that's not nice. Alright, come on, lady, we gotta climb this again. This game just took a turn in a direction I don't mind. Like. I hate it. Ew.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
So Sanjay. So he's not really part of the family. Is there any, like, memoirs?
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
India.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back and to see kids in the house again.
So this is ours. That's ours.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Oh no.
But it didn't last.
Never does.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Where is Melon? Something went missing. Excuse me, buddy, but I really don't think you should be climbing around.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh. So we have a family full of witches.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
That's. I don't know how I feel about that. What is there for me to check out?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
I saw that with the phone. See? Everything else here.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
So I'm guessing your brother, dad, or I don't know.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis. Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Hookah! It's a hookah. You gotta love hookahs. The Red King string. Oh, we got a gate man. Dawn Finch.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats and toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows. followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know.
This is Lewis's.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
We all know that. That's all it is. Where's my talking about?
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. The rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
That was mannequins? Lewis.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
How many more did we got? Let's see, we got 2 more. Wait, do we? Yeah, Dawn, Edie, Sven. No, wait. I don't know. Edie. Okay, Edie and Dawn. They're Puka. You guys should really get this game for yourself.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
Actually,
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
this house cares.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
This is hers.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Mama? Yeah. Edith Finch.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Jeez. Ooh, we get a present. I wonder what it is.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom set up the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Dude.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered.
Probably shouldn't do that.
I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Don't know what did that.
that night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
I think I know what happened.
After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
She dies. You inherit the house.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
That's what happens.
And then I was alone.
The last finch.
The last finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself.
It's the tunnel from Coraline.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Alright guys, thank you for watching. This was an amazing game, and I hope you guys can play for yourself.